I'm Elly Swartz. I'm the author of Finding Perfect and Smart Cookie, Dear Student, and Give and Take. And I have Hidden Truths coming out in 2023. A little bit about me. People who know me, it's always family first for me. I'm all about family. So married, it'll be 32 years this year to my husband, James. I have two grown sons who are my whole heart. One is married and lives in Vermont. The other lives with his girlfriend in LA. Family is everything to me. And I'm so grateful to them that they have believed in me and championed this career, because one of the things when I start a school visit is I always ask them how long they think it took for me to get my yes. And, I say, do you think it took 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? What do they think? And then I have them do a drum roll and give them the answer. And the answer is, it took me 15 years to get my yes. And the kids are like, oh my gosh, which is exactly how I felt for 15 years. So for me, that really long winding path to yes was championed by my family and friends and their belief in me that I could get to this point. So when my books come out, it still blows me away, and it just fills my heart with joy. During those years, I'm a lawyer. I went to Georgetown. That's where I met my husband. He was in line behind me at registration on the first day. And I was a lawyer. I practiced law for a period of time. I wrote law books with my father-in-law and articles with him and my husband for a long time. I taught legal research and writing at law school. I started a business, a college prep business called the Essay Advisor. I did that for many years. Basically, and I was writing while I was doing all of this and raising my family. So all the things I love have the one thing in common, which is story, whether it's books or college applications where you're helping students and kids find their voice, finding that little sliver of a moment that shares their heart and their story, or whether it's the law, it's real people's lives and the stories and how their stories and how the law has impacted them. So it's kind of a through line, just looks a little different with each job I've done, but I feel like it's the thing that links them together. So that's a bit about me.
I love the idea that if you're telling that to a group of students, 15 years, well, that's going to be older than some of them are. That's our whole life that you're talking about.
It is, it's funny because I do say to them, you guys, right, your entire life, longer, because a lot of times I'm in an elementary school with like 4th or 5th graders, right? Their entire lives, I've been working towards something and had yet to achieve it. And one of the things I tell them, because a student raised his hand, I love visiting schools. I love talking to kids. They're so honest. And a student raised his hand and he's like, Elly, it's great that you persevered and you worked really hard, but why? And, it was perfect. And I really made me think. And I said, it's a great question, because rejection at my age, it's not like I've gotten great at it. It's not like I love it. Nobody loves to be told their work isn't good enough. They're not good enough. It's just like the kids that I'm with, right? Not making the team, not being invited to the party. You don't get great at rejection. So I had to think about why I kept coming back. And I realized that I love writing more than I hate rejection. And I realized that the rejection doesn't define me the way I hope it doesn't define the kids that I meet with. Like you don't ever give rejection that kind of power over you. It doesn't define your worth. I was a writer because I wrote, not because somebody said I was good enough. And that was a lesson that I think I hope kids take with them. And I've taken with me over the years, that you are not, your rejection doesn't define you, and never give that power to somebody else or something else to define who you are. And then just do the thing you love and just keep doing it. I truly believe that that's where your happy place is. So for me, it took a long time, a lot of candy, and a lot of hugs from the people I love.
If I could go back to you, and at some point I want to talk about the legendary version that involves bazooka gum, I believe. But
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
15
yes.
years ago, and I tell you that, hey, it's going to take 15 years to get this done. Are you still on board, do you think?
It would have been easier to know it would have taken 15 years, but I would have gotten there. See, it was the not knowing. Like if somebody had said, you need to work your bum off for 15 years, be the best writer you can be, the best version of yourself, but then you're going to hit the ground running. I mean, I wouldn't have been happy about the 15 years, but at least I would have known, it would have been a certainty. It would have been something a framework I could have worked within. The hardest part for me was knowing I was working my bum off, knowing I was trying to become the best writer I could be, and not knowing if that was going to be enough, if I was ever going to get my yes. That uncertainty was what crept in. And, you know, as I share in school visits, I mean, just because I got to my yes and I pushed through those and persevered for 15 years doesn't mean I didn't have moments of self-doubt, moments of, can I get there? Am I good enough? Will it happen? Of course I did. I mean, I think that's human nature, right? You know, doubt creeps in and you start to say to yourself, are they right? Like, can I not get there? And I was at a school visit yesterday, or a virtual visit yesterday, and a student said to me, well, like, what kept you going? Like, why? Like, what made you not stop when you got all these rejections? Because there's hundreds of rejections. I mean, it wasn't just a few sprinkled in over years. And I said, I would turn to my husband and my kids and I would say, sometimes while crying, do you think this is actually going to happen? And they would say, yes, just like that. No hesitation. I would say, like, why? Like, statistically, all the evidence would suggest it's not happening. So why? Why do you think it's going to happen? And they said, I believe in you. And that got me over the finish line. Like those 3 words, like that was it. And, sharing with kids, like that's a gift you can give to somebody else, letting them know you believe in them. So that, I don't know. I think if I would have known it would have happened in 12 years, it would have been easier than not knowing it would ever happen.
So tell us the legendary story of the bazooka gum.
Oh my gosh. So I'm a candy gum person. And so years ago, we used to, when our kids were younger, I used to get those big buckets like at Costco of bazooka gum. They come in like a big plastic bucket. And I loved bazooka gum. And during one of these 15 years, I got a piece of gum, and I'm wondering if I have it here. I recently moved here, so I don't know where everything is yet. But and it said, you will be my fortune, which is usually like a broken clock is right twice a day. I mean, the fortunes are not, the early bird gets the worm. They've usually been like that. And I got a fortune in my bazooka gum that said, you will become outstanding in literature. And I was like, what is this? This is a sign. This has to be a sign of good things, that good things are coming. And I saved it. And I've never gotten another fortune, but with Bazooka Joe like that. I've never seen another fortune like that. I took it as a sign, as a little sliver of hope. And I have it with me.
Do you keep it framed like Scrooge McDuck's first?
Yeah, I have it. As I said, I recently moved. I would go through my drawers, but I think that would probably take a minute. But I have it. It's on when I got my first contract. It was framed with my contract. the piece of the fortune.